Warhammer 40K. Need I say more? Those who know, know. For those who don't, the Emperor protects.
Yes, he does.
Warhammer is one of the most brutal lores I've ever had the pleasure of getting into. For years, friends and subscribers have tried to get me into the tabletop game too, but I refused because I knew I couldn't afford another plastic crack hobby. Ironically, I've been watching YouTubers that paint Warhammer minis since 2018, trying to learn the skills to be a good painter for Gundam model kits. Around 2 years ago, the inevitable happened. I saw the Astartes project by Siyama Peterson, and oh my god, it melted my mind. The levels of badass that this was otherworldly. I must have watched it 4 or 5 times. If you haven't seen it, watch it. You won't regret it. Unless you inject estrogen in yourself for fun, then you probably won't like it very much. At that point, the seal was broken, and I started diving into Warhammer lore. I'm being 100% honest with you when I say Warhammer is actually sick. I see why Sirgon Avocado was painting minis when we were on the Drinkers stream. In the same timeline, Henry Cavill was spearheading the Warhammer TV project for Amazon. This is right after The Witcher took a nosedive. And it was at that moment that I knew it was over. Number one, they would never do Warhammer justice. Never. Not in this reality. 2, the progressives were definitely coming in full force at this point. 3, they are so going to change Warhammer in some way, shape, or form that would break lore. And somehow GW was going to fix it.
Daddy, chill.
I was under no illusion beforehand that Warhammer was under attack. I knew Games Workshop was already woke, as they say, ever since the 2020 post during the Summer of Love, because you can't call it what it was.
As Lord of Metal points out, after the Summer of Love, GW was like every other company, immediately rushing towards consultancy firms to tell them to invest in diversity, equity, and inclusion, even if there was no diversity to add in, because let's face it, miniatures are really only a white guy thing.
Warhammer's for everyone. One of the great powers of our hobby is the ability to bring people together in a common cause, to build bonds and friendships that cross divides. We believe in supporting community united by shared values and mutual kindness and respect.
What does this have to do with the tabletops? Every Warhammer guy I've ever hung out with was pretty cool.
Our fantasy settings are grim and dark, but that is not a reflection of who we are and how we feel in the real world should be.
Well, the world isn't what you want it to be. Stop being a woman.
We will never accept nor condone any form of prejudice, hatred, or abuse in our community or Warhammer hobby. We will continue to diversify the cast of characters we portray throughout the miniatures and art and storylines. Everyone can be represented in the heroes they can relate to.
Judging by this year's Golden Demon Awards, it turns out that most of the people participating in this Games Workshop event are 99% white and 97% male. Thank God we've finally got trans crippled dykes on the way.
Stop him!
Diverse cast of characters. Yeah, sure, true. You know, there's demons, there's orcs, space aliens, bugs that eat everything in our hive mind. Sounds like a group of people on Twitter. Chaos gods, the Empyrean of mankind, trying to kill everything off. The thousands of sacrifices daily made to the Emperor of Mankind's corpse to keep traveling through the wormholes possible without being pulled to pieces by demons. I wonder where can I see myself in all of this? Oh yes, the grunt.
If you feel that same way, whenever...
I can't do this, dude.
If you feel the same way, whatever and whoever you are, we're glad you're a part of Warhammer community. If not, you will not be missed.
I would be sucking the ass of the hardcore Warhammer fans, GW. Because those guys have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep your company afloat. And judging by Games Workshop CFO selling almost all of her stock, damn near $900,000, the writing is on the wall, and she doesn't want to be a part of any Bud Light situation.
This was obviously written by a woman or a man with very small testicles. An unnecessary post during 2020 that did nothing other than virtue signal on Twitter, pointlessly.
This was full of sound and fury,
signifying nothing.
Warhammer was created in 1987, literally decades before everyone went nutso-butso in the 2020s. And it explains why Warhammer is so balls to the wall badass. You know what else came out in 1987? The Predator. You had Arnold, you had Carl Weathers, you had the dude who was a wrestler, you had a badass Native American dude, and a killer alien. Oh my god, back when male movie stars looked like men and not twinks on heroin mincing around the red carpet, asking for ceasefires from groups of people that would literally do unspeakable things to their bodies before sticking them on a pike.
He's out of line, but he's right.
They are a step less crazy than Tyranids. I'm in trouble.
My point is, Warhammer was made in a different time. People were normal, and there were literally 0 Catboy ranches in 1987 and up until the 2020s. The people running GW now inherited a successful IP, and odds are resent what Warhammer represents, and would love nothing more than to change it for modern audiences. Damn you, Catboys. I blame Finster. In the never-ending march towards creative monotony, Games Workshop decided to make Warhammer more inclusive. Female Space Marines has been a topic for the terminally online Twitter user that has been pushing this for ages. In canon, there are no female Space Marines, but that doesn't mean women aren't in the game. 2 of my favorite factions, the Sisters of Silence, badass. If I recall correctly, the Sisters of Silence are among the few people who can actually see the Emperor of Mankind for what he actually looks like, okay? Like, a normal human would most likely go crazy and probably die, right? A psyker probably go nuts too. Nutso-butso. They turn to a cat boy. Or, like, Primarchs, if they come across the corpse of the Emperor of Mankind. I think Rabute Gilliman sort of saw an idealized version of the Emperor of Mankind, or the Emperor of Mankind kind of projects what you think you want to see into him. It's a whole thing, right? But nobody has time for the lore. So they're badass. No questions about it. The Sisters of Battle. Their armor is killer, dude. Absolutely just reeks of awesomeness, if you know what I'm talking about. The only way you can see Warhammer as exclusive is if you literally are the type of person who wants to paint Space Marines in alphabet soup colors. And that makes no sense at all, because I don't think the Astartes are down with Catboys. So hang that idea up right now, you filthy heretic. Well, finally, we have female Adeptus Astartes. They couldn't just be normal ones. Just in time for the Amazon TV show, by the way. So basically, all the lore that has existed for decades. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. It's over. It's out the window. Remember when Kathleen Kennedy and Disney took over Star Wars and they expanded the universe just like, boop, it was gone. It didn't exist anymore. Give them time, and I'm sure that female Primarchs will be a thing. I can't wait to hear about their gene seeds. Or will it be gene eggs? I don't know.
Only bigots hate the female Custodes idea.
Bro, it's about the lore. Nothing bigoted about it at all. The Warhammer fandom has to be one of the most welcoming fan bases I've ever come across in my life. This attempt to pretend that they are somehow all horrible people is textbook Prague smear campaigning, where the people who have basically carried this IP from the brink of extinction to the 21st century and then made it bigger than it's ever been before, who are invested. So these dudes who've been playing this since they were kids. Now all of a sudden they're bad people because they respect the lore.
Oh no, women are coming to ruin 40K. The bigots need to get over themselves about female Adeptus Custodes. GW has been promising for years to better represent the setting of Warhammer 40K, perhaps the most...
You know, I'm not even reading the rest of this. You don't deserve me to read this article.
All of this falls flat when you see female players of Warhammer 40K commenting on this, and horrors of horrors, they don't support it.
There have never been female Custodes, name one, before this short story. There is zero evidence of this. It would be one thing if GW had offered some kind of explanation, or better yet, made SOS part of the Custodes, but they didn't. They are lying, and so are you.
What I hate about Progs is they're all about women until a woman doesn't agree with them.
Well, things came to a head when GW's official Twitter page, that's odds are ran by an intern who doesn't know their ass from their elbow, decided to retcon the lore, like people who have been playing this game since they were children wouldn't notice. Bro, I'm a casual fan of Warhammer, at best, and I know this.
Why'd you make female Custodes? Since the first of the 10,000 were created, there have always been female Custodes.
No. Right after that happened, the Warhammer Wiki sprang into action, started deleting information and changing everything. Wiki in America is run by progressives. That's why I stopped donating to them years ago. Longtime fans started canceling subscriptions to GW, which personally, if I worked there, I'd be shitting bricks, because these are the people that buy everything you do, even if it sucks or if it's a slight modification. You don't lose these people.
These are the people that buy the Games Workshop paint sets and don't complain enough about how terrible the white paint set is.
Two schools of thought as to why all of this happened surfaced. Number one, BlackRock and Vanguard, ESG all over again. Sweet Baby Inc., video gaming, Gamergate 2, you know where I'm going. GW is a publicly traded company with a fairly low ESG risk score. BlackRock and Vanguard owned about 5 to 6% each in the stocks. So I'd estimate if GW is like worth $3 billion, they own 5 to 6% each. That's between $50 million and $60 million of investment. Technically, a lot of money. The other school of thought is that Amazon girl bossed again. A 4chan leak from Kita, which should be taken with a grain of salt.
Female custodians are only going to be mentioned in the codex. No new sculpts or characters after the fact. Social media department jumped the gun and tried to put out fires with the wrong hose. Intent is to push female custodians characters in the Amazon show without it breaking lore, because Amazon executives wanted a woman in power armor and wouldn't settle for Sisters of Battle, which is absolutely ridiculous because the Sisters of Battle are awesome. People involved in the show are pissed because they've been moving ahead on Eisenhorn. Talks of inserting said female custodians into Eisenhorn's story, with Cavill threatening to walk away from the project. Small stock drop today, but GW figured it can ride it out if it stays mum on the subject. They really need better social media employees. Cavill will be in the article due to heading the GW work on the new series this week or next. If he leaves, it'll be a noticeable hit to the share's price, meaning the show is dead. Good ending. Or Amazon is calling the shots. Bad ending. Not black Chigorians, but similar scenario. You can trust me. My dad works at Nintendo.
Ultimately, the Amazon show will ruin Warhammer, any way you slice it. If it does well, you'll have more people like this.
The queer 40K fans have won a great victory without even trying. God bless us. Now make all the Sisters of Silence canonically trans.
Telling you that you're a bigot, and the tabletop game you loved all of your life, that was for everyone, is now really for everyone. At the expense of the lore, your experience, and needing more diversity, equity, and inclusion, ultimately diluting the once product that you loved. Because let's face it, when something's niche, it can be actually curated, cared for, and cultivated. When it's mass produced, it just gets homogenized. Those that support this are the types of people that have no respect for what has come before them, whether that be entertainment or history itself. The other people that would support this lack the spine to stand against anything, for fear of being politically incorrect, and I must be all welcoming of everything, no matter how deranged it is. And we're talking about other things. It's a game about space races, fighting all manner of creatures. How can you see yourself in such a world? It's meant for escapism. I don't think there's a guy with a Tyranid army who wants to eat everyone in the room, or a guy playing an orc army that really thinks painting everything red makes it go fast. Who could really see themselves in the Adeptus Mechanicus or the Necrons? The whole point of these hobbies is to escape from who you are. That's why video games are based on amazing, superhuman-like people, and not the trans Starbucks barista that cried because they had to work on the weekends and too many people showed up.
And we have 4 people on the floor all day. Only 5 people were put on the schedule, and somebody had to call out. And there are 4 people running the whole store, and there's so many customers.